In this video, I'm going to show off Sedrino. Sedrino is an AI-driven Visual Studio Code extension that can significantly increase developer productivity. We interact with Sedrino through a chat window. Sedrino has the ability to read and edit multiple files at once, which makes it a very powerful tool. To demo Sedrino, we are going to build an ERP system for a dinosaur farm, research center, and theme park. We're going to dedicate about an hour to the project and see how far we can get in that time. We're going to use Dino for the runtime, which uses TypeScript as its programming language. We will use Drizzle ORM to interact with the database, Zod for any input validation, generate some fake data using Faker, and implement a basic auth for the API. Hopefully we can get all that done in about an hour, maybe not, but we'll see. Let's get started.
To get started, I went ahead and set up a very basic structure for the application. So we can look at the entry point here. All we have is a application and a router setup with an empty state and just a basic root route. It just prints out the name of the application and starts the server. I went ahead and set up the database connection so I didn't have to deal with the environment variables and just confirm that the connection was working. And that's about it. So there's nothing else in the application. To start brainstorming ideas for the application, we're actually going to use the AI to do that. So I have this docs folder, and we're going to put all our ideas and stuff inside of this docs folder. And so to start with, I'm going to have this application.md markdown file, and here we're going to brainstorm and put our thoughts here. To get going, I just give it a title, application features, architecture and design, description, ERP system for a dinosaur farm, research center, and theme park. All right, so now I'm going to open up Sedrino, and Sedrino has multiple modes in it, and I'm going to switch to the latest mode, which is Edit Turbo. So this is using the latest GPT-4 Turbo, and then we can select the scope, and for now, I'm just going to focus on this file right now, this file that I have opened. So I'm going to ask it, help me design the ERP system for the dinosaur company. Okay. Of all the features we will need. Let's see what it does here. So we'll wait a couple seconds here, and we'll see that it should hopefully give us some ideas. Okay, and it went ahead and added things to the document, added feature section to the application MD file, a list of proposed features for the ERP system. So it came up with inventory management, dinosaur tracking, employee management, visitor management, research data management, maintenance schedule, supply chain management. So all these things that you would kind of expect in an ERP system for a dinosaur park. Okay, that's great. So now I'm going to continue talking to this to expand out these ideas. So obviously dinosaurs are really important. So let's expand on the dinosaurs. So let's expand on the dinosaur tracking. What features do we need? And again, you may notice that it doesn't stream the text like ChatGPT does. The reason why we're doing it because not only does it chat with us, it also makes edits to the document while we're going. So, okay, real-time GPS, health monitoring, behavior analysis, habitat monitoring, breeding management, diet tracking, movement patterns, and identification system. Okay, let's see if we can we better format the dinosaur header. Let's just see if we can give it. There we go. Dinosaur tracking. Cool. Cool. Let's expand on the now. Let's expand on the features or the inventory management. looks like. No, we did. Okay. So stock level monitoring. I didn't notice the change. Supplier management, purchase order management, warehouse management, inventory. Cool. And then let's expand on the employee management. And there you go. And you notice GPT-4 Turbo is extremely fast. It was able to generate all of this that quickly. So it only took a couple seconds. All right, so staff scheduling, payroll system, training modules, certificate training, recruitment. Cool. All right, that's good for now. So for the sake of, I'm going to go here and edit this and say features to add at a overseas performance financials. Yeah. Regulatory compliance, we don't need that. Okay. All right. So we're going to save that file. Okay. I will. Okay. So next, obviously, so we're going to focus on the back end. So primary thing that we need is coming up with our database schema. So I'm going to create, I think I already created a table file, but I have this database tables file. I'm going to open this up. And okay, I'm going to, let's see here. So we want to create the tables for these systems here. So let's go ahead and come back to Sedrino. So I'm going to change my mode to open files. So this allows Sedrino to read across all the files you have open currently in your editor. And I'm going to come back to the database tables. Okay, help me come up with all the database tables and relationships we will need for the inventory, employee, and dinosaur features of the application. All right, inventory tables, items, call suppliers, purchase orders, warehouse, employees, schedules, payroll, dinosaurs, GPS tracks, last updated, health records, habitats. Okay, these are interesting. Cool. The vital signs, health records, vital signs kind of vague. Expand on vital signs. We want it more specific. Columns. Okay, let's see, you're adding blood pressure, heart rate, body temperature. Okay, that's cool. Let's go ahead and create. Let's create a species table and update any relationships needed. So obviously, hopefully, it creates a species table. Kind of did a little weird there, but we'll just come here and just edit this, bring this down here. I did update the species. Instead of referring to species, it's referring to species ID. That's great. All right, that's cool. So we also need just basic users. We also want to add tables for user and user roles. User should have a password field, actually, so let's see, have email and password. Okay, users, cool. We will want to connect users to employees. Okay, employee. So they tell me added a user ID column to the employees. Okay, this is cool. This is a great start. So now we have kind of a pseudocode idea of what our tables want to be, which is a start, but we need to get this to actual code somehow. So I mentioned we're using Drizzle ORM as our ORM tool. So what I'm going to do is add some new documents. Call these Drizzle docs. And then I'm going to go to the Drizzle website. Now, Drizzle ORM is a newer library. There really isn't that much code out there, so the AI models out there currently have a hard time understanding it or writing it. They don't have it memorized yet, so we need to give it a lot of guidance. So we need to give the AI some context of how to use Drizzle ORM. So what I'm going to do, I'm literally going to go to the website for Drizzle ORM and copy some of their documentation. Let's see here. So I'm mostly going to need column types for Postgres. So I'm just going to come here, start at the top, copy all that. I'm going to create a file called column types. I'm just going to paste that in there. Save that. Also need to know about indexes and constraints. So I'm going to copy this. Just come to the bottom, come here, say indexes, constraints. Okay, copy that and save that there. Selects, same idea. I'm just going to call these queries because actually the other ones aren't that long. So just save that. Inserts. I'm just going to pin these here and update. Small file. And deletes. Filters, filtering conditional operations. Sure, yeah, we'll take these. And then we'll do our joins. All right. That's all in one document there. All right.
Okay, now since I have all those docs in here, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our documentation, our pseudocode of what our tables should be like, and then we're going to convert those into our schema. So I'm going to close a couple of these files that I have open, to do MD, application MD. So I'm going to, the main thing I need is the column types and index constraints. I don't need queries. So close those. So I want those open. And then I also want to open up my schema TS. So this is where we're going to define our database table. So let's see here. We have just a test one here. I want to leave that there just to give the AI a little bit of assistance here. So let's see how well this goes here. So I'm going to clear this chat log that I have here. It's getting kind of long. So, okay, I'm going to ask it now. Now we want to implement the tables from db tables md into the schema ts. Be sure to follow the documentation for the column types and index constraints. All right, then we're on open files, so it should be reading all those open files, and I'm going to press enter. Give it a couple seconds here. All right, looky there. So we have all that. I don't know if that's all of our tables, but let's go ahead and update the import. So I could have fixed that myself, but there we go. I did that. All right. Okay, so it clearly did not finish all the tables. So added inventory tables schema. Okay, so it did. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this one now. Items, suppliers, purchase orders, warehouses, inventory transactions. So if we look over here, items, suppliers, purchase, warehouse. Okay, so I'm going to tell it to go ahead and finish the employees and dinosaur tables. Actually, we'll just start say, okay, now implement the employee tables. So if we're looking at this, we can tell that it actually did everything correctly. It used serial, which represents an auto increment ID, set it as primary key, properly did references. And then we got here, okay, schedules, payroll, added all those. That's great. Okay, there's some more imports, but we're going to wait on that. Okay, go ahead and implement the dinosaurs tables. There we go. GPS health records, habitats, breeding records. Cool, cool, cool. All right, cool. All right. And then we need the users, right? The user tables. And now the users table. Now, I could have probably been more verbose on my commands and said, hey, please implement all of those. But a lot of times it tries to just do one thing at a time or one concept at a time. So, and then, cool. All right, so the only thing I see is this time one did not come over. So we're going to fix that input right there. And that was not used. So delete that. All right, so now we have our schema file. Our next step that we need to figure out is kind of think through all of the API endpoints that we're going to need for this application. So again, we're going to choose what files we want to have open. The schema is kind of nice. Actually, I'll keep the database tables documents open, and then we'll come back here and we'll open up our application. And yeah, that'd be good. Okay, so let's go and create a new document file. We'll just say it's endpoints.md. The endpoints. Okay, so then we're going to come to our chat window again. I'm going to clear that out. Okay. outline all of the endpoints we need for the employees, dinosaurs. All right, we're doing inventory, right? Inventory, yes, inventory. Be verbose, think. Make sure to think through every detail. Is there anything specific we need? We want a list of the URL paths, parameters they may take. Take and what the response should be. Seems to be thinking a lot longer this time, probably because I told it to be more verbose. And okay, look at here. Employee schedules, payroll. GPS tracker, health records. All right, let's see here. I think we're still dinosaurs. GPS tracking. Is there anything in our dinosaurs that we're really missing? I feel like there may be. That's there. All right, so we seem to be missing a few endpoints for the dinosaur. Make sure to include some. We need to be able to maintain all of the tables. There we go. Habitats, breeding records, diet records, movement logs. Cool. Added all those. Did I add the species table? Yep. Okay. Cool. That looks great. So now we have an idea of what our things. I could go through here, edit it, see if this is all right. Continue having a conversation with it. But for now, okay, so now we have our endpoints. Now we got to get this, again, get this to code. So what do I need open? So let's see here. Let's see here. I'm going to clear that. We are going to create files for each of the resource types. They will be placed under, let's see here, I think I put them under routes. Let's see here, is that what I called resources? Okay. Under the /resources directory. Can you give me a list of the files we will need as a provide the list as command that will create each of the files. Make sure it handles. Yeah, we'll just do that. All right. Let's see what it gives me. Actually, remove the resources prefix. Okay. Actually, and these should be .ts files. Cool. We have all these. So I am going to go to that folder and create all those files. Okay, so now we should have all those files here. Great. The next thing we need to do is turn all of these route definitions into actual code. So we have all those files that we just created, and I want to open them all. Don't need the index, it's already open. Open to the side, I guess. All right, so we have all these files open. And cool. And then I'm going to go to my chat window. And we are going to see how well it will define all our routes. We're not trying to make it do all the work, but we just want the outline of everything. So I already wrote this prompt here, create the API routes for all the resources of the current open files. Remember, you can edit multiple files. So the tool can edit multiple files at once. It does sometimes forget about that. So I'm just giving a little reminder. And since we're doing all of those files, it probably will take a couple seconds again. It still did not like that. Let's keep on asking it nicely. Okay, I did that one. We'll close it and let me make sure. Okay, and it is adding the appropriate imports. There's something wrong with that, but we'll fix that later. All right, so one thing I'm checking, I'm to make sure that the API, it can actually see everything. See, that's the problem. It actually can't see all those files. So since I opened them in that way, it didn't realize they were all open. So I'm just gonna go click on them. And now we'll know. Okay, now we go. All right, so close certificate. All right, now we can go back and we're going to ask it one more time. It's taking a long time, so I assume it's going through all those files. The content was too long. Okay. It wasn't able to do all of those at once, so unfortunately. a little too long. So for the sake of the demo, we're going to close some of these. Okay, do that. I'm going to clear this. Try that again. And unfortunately, the AIs so they work in tokens, so they can only output 4,000 tokens at once. So there's limits at uh, how much they can output. So the new OpenAI model does support up 128,000 tokens, input tokens, so it can read a lot. It just can't output a lot. So okay, there we go. There's some of those. It went through all those files. Okay, cool. All right. Let's just close all these. I did not import all of those. All right. Let's see here. Let's just copy these paths. Copy relative paths, and then let's go index. We need to tell it import and use all of the following files, router files. And actually, I want to make sure this just does the active file now. So I make sure it focuses on this here. We'll see how well it does that. I'm guessing these are ones we didn't actually complete, so we can go through and open those. And now, so what I'll do is go through and just open these. Oops. I forget, Visual Studio Code does not, if you do not do anything with the file, it doesn't actually keep it open. In the future, I should be able to ask the AI to open those files. Almost there, probably a month out to have that feature there. So, okay, those are open. Now I'm going to copy, I had that prompt I had earlier, and I'm going to say, come back here, clear that, come back to open files, and do that. Again, probably take about maybe 30 seconds to do this. Now, sometimes it's kind of weird sitting here waiting for it to go, but at the end of the day, it can write code a whole lot faster than anyone can. So there we go. Perfect. All right. So one thing to notice is the tool does automatically save everything after it makes an edit, and it does run the formatter. So everything should be nice and formatted. Okay. Oops, did I miss one? Yep. Complete router for the movement logs.ts. Forgot one. There we go. And save that. All right, so that's all of those. Now these are wrong. It's not using the tool correctly. Again, Dino is kind of a newer tool also, and so I wouldn't expect the AI to always know how to do that. But what we do is we just pass it the routes method like there. Okay, and so here I'm going to clear my log, select active file. So we're just adding this one again, and I'm going to copy this line. All of the use statements for the PI router should be like this. And so hopefully it will go through and fix the rest of those. Now, this is something I'm sure a Vim expert could have done that a lot quicker than the AI in this case. But there we go. You can imagine maybe something more advanced. You couldn't maybe make a Vim macro with ease. And now also I'm looking at almost providing the AI with the ability to use Vim macros. So it could have even done the task a little bit quicker. So, okay. So now we have our API routes. That looks great. All right. Okay, now since we have our rough draft of our routes, we need to actually implement some of these routes. And so we're going to use some interesting tricks to do this. First of all, I did notice that I do need to make some changes to this. So I'm actually going to, it's just to deal with some of the type definitions here. So actually going to import my app state here and use that as a generic there. And now I can go through and remove all of those contexts or those type definitions there. Okay, so now it knows this context is, if we hover over this type, we'll see that it knows it's the app state. So, all right, so now we have that. Now, how are we going to get the AI to implement all these things? All right, so we have our schema definition in our schema.ts file. But we actually don't want to just import those and write our queries there. We actually want to put a layer in between it. So we're going to create like a repository layer. So I'm going to do an import here. I'm going to leave it empty. I want to say import from repository.ts. Okay. Clear the chat. Then we're going to say, I also went ahead and I brought in the Oak documentation. So this is the library we're using to define all our routes. It's a library called Oak. So again, pulled those documents in. So I want to leave this open at the same time. This just helps the AI understand things better. Go here. Okay, open files. All right. Implement the routes using the repository functions from be sure to implement all of the routes, handle errors, all right, and we'll see what it does here. Okay, it imported those. So here again, it just wanted to do one step at a time, so we're gonna have to push it along here. So, okay, that's great. Please implement all routes. Do not stop until you are done. All right, so what's interesting here, this technique here is I'm telling it to almost make fake methods. So I have not defined those methods yet. So what we're gonna do, so the AI essentially said, okay, these are the type of methods we should have, and then we will implement those later. There we go. Great, okay, that's good. All right, so now we have this repository. Okay, I'm going to close the oak file. I'm going to clear my chat. I'm going to go create that repository file. Repository.ts. And save that. And then we're going to bring in our schema file because we'll need that. And if we remember, we brought in the documentations of Drizzle for the query. So this is all the documentation of how do you write queries for Drizzle. Okay. And there we go. So now we're going to come to our chat again, make sure it's looking at all open files, and we say, okay, I'll start by just saying, hey, just scaffold out those methods. Okay, great. Okay. All right, so we brought in the file from schema TS and did all that. Okay, that's great. Now implement each of the functions. Okay. So it kind of didn't do that right. So I'm going to make sure that it, I'm going to ask it again. You did not do that correctly. Please follow the instructions in query.md. It's really struggling. Okay. So I realize why it's struggling. I forgot to import something. So one of the things that Drizzle needs is the connection. So we need this from our DB file. And so we have our DB connection. Okay. So really what it should be like db.select from dinosaurs table. And that's really what we want. Okay, so maybe it understands things better. Okay, so, and sometimes you got to give it a little bit more guidance, give an example of how you want it. If you want your queries written a certain way, provide it with better documentation. So it'd probably be much more efficient to provide it some examples instead of just dumping this entire query documentation, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, I'm going to clear my chat again. Okay, implement the rest of the methods, functions. Okay, all right, that's right. Okay, and then we will continue on. Okay, finish define all two. Looks like I'd add extra parentheses there. All right, it's just some cleanup, like that. We have some things we need to import. So that comes from, we need to npm, I think that's right, Drizzle core. And this is, I may be doing the wrong things here. Let's see our query. Oh, this comes from, let's see here. I forget. Drizzle has multiple libraries. I think this comes from, let's see here, filters. There's that filter docs. Just Drizzle ORM. Okay. And what does it say? We got a couple errors. All right. So we got some errors. So now we can start to get, okay. What I'm going to do is actually come here, go to my problems. And let's see here. These are, I'm actually just going to copy all these. Copy. I'm going to fix the following errors. And let's see what it does here. So one of the reasons why I'm choosing these libraries is because I know that, again, the model hasn't been trained on this. I mean, obviously it's in there some probably, but not much. Okay, yeah. Okay, fix that to be a number. Okay. And this should be, let's see here. It doesn't have a first. It actually has just this. If you want to get a dinosaur, that would be how to do that. Okay. So now we have those implemented. Clean up that import. We now have those all there. Great. So we're looking like we're getting there. Let's see here. We have some type errors. I think that we can define params here. I'm not sure if that's the case. It doesn't look like it. Again, these are libraries I'm not even very familiar with, so I was trying to push them the boundaries. So we'll just actually let's go back to our chat and let's say active file. Make sure to parse the IDs as integers. Okay. What does it do? I don't know. Parse int. What is that? I always forget that second parameter is. Okay. Surprised it did that. We don't need that. All right. So that just shows how we can do this. Now, this one took a little bit longer to work on, but what I can do is open up my next file. And so let's do employees. Okay, first of all, let's clear our chat. Let's here adjust the app state type to in employees.ts to match dinosaurs.ts. I'm just going to remove that myself. Okay, remove. Oh, there we go. I screwed up. I did not switch my context to be all open files. So hopefully it will go through. Okay. I will just go through and here do that. Okay. Clear that. Okay, implement all of the employee Actually, so really it didn't have problems. So we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do repository. So this part worked well. And again, I can do just the active file. Okay, implement all of the employee routes using the functions in the repository. Do not stop until all routes are complete. Okay, the import again. Sometimes it just wants to stop. Please implement all caps. If I spelled implement correctly, see, it's smart enough. Didn't even finish my word. But it's taking a little bit longer, so I assume it's going to go through and do them all. There we go, perfect. Now we go back to our repository. Make sure we go to open files. So now we have examples in this, so it should start doing a lot better. And so I'm going to just copy these here and implement all of the functions for the employees in the repository.ts file. And I'm just going to give that list just so it gives a little bit more context. There we go. Let's see here, import. So we don't have that. So we got to make sure we fix that import. There you go. Cool. And so if we go back here, we should see that all of our methods are implemented. Okay, that's great. All right, D argument type string. So again, we need to make sure, I forgot to do that again. So make sure to parse all IDs as integers. There we go. Fix that. Awesome. So now we even went through and implemented the routes for two different ones, dinosaurs and employees. So we're getting, now you can see, again, we can kind of chain these and go through and implement all of those that we need. But okay, so now I want to get to the point to actually be able to run this application and actually hit some of these endpoints to see if at least we get data back from the database. But one of the problems I have is that since I'm using Dino, Drizzle does not have their migration tool ready to go for Dino. It only works with Node.js. So what I'm going to try to get the AI to do is take my schema definition and output a Postgres migration file that I can, an SQL that I can run. So I open up my schema, I have this db.sql file, and I'm going to ask it to generate a .sql file that contains all of the create table definitions for the schema. Make sure it works with Postgres. go, create tables. Here's all of our stuff. Cool. Users roles, okay. So now I'm just going to go and add that to my database real quickly. Sorry you don't see this. I'm not going to change my screen sharing just for that, but all right. Cool. And execute all those. So it did. One of the things that does work. Okay. We have a problem with this. So I'm going to do active file. All of the references need to be created after the tables are made. There you go. And it looks like it. There you go. Dumped all those there. Let's just, yeah. All right. Now I want to run that. Okay. So all those tables were made. It's great. All right. Okay, so now we want to, let's see here, maybe make some fake data. So I think Dino has a library for Faker. I think I made that in my notes already. Yeah, so we're gonna go get these documentation here. I want to add a doc to say faker.md. And let's see here, we'll just, all right, having a hard time finding these docs real quick. Here we go. I'm guessing Faker, so this is inspired by the JavaScript version, and it's been around for a while, so well, probably don't need the docs there. So we'll just close that. We'll see how it does without. So I'm going to create a new file, fakedata.ts, and we're going to need our import. Actually, we have our create dinosaur, right, in our repository. And I'll open that, just keep that open. And then I will take the import. I have my to-dos. Cache. Okay. And then we'll probably want to make sure we bring the schema in. Okay, we got that. Okay. Go over my chat. make sure we're looking at all open files. Let's see here. Write a script in fake data.ts that will generate 10 example dinosaur records. Okay, yeah, that seemed to work. Let's see if that runs. Dino run fake data.ts. Oh, I'm in the wrong directory. Dino run fake data.ts. We hit the allow. Yes, yes. Dino has extra permissions on things. Just press. We don't have species yet, so here we're going to get into, okay, species. We don't have that, so create species. And we'll go to our repository. Implement the create species function. That species table needs to be imported. Okay. All right. And so we're going to say dinosaur create for species records using fake data. Okay, and so now we're going to describe the issue we have here. So, okay, yeah, so dinosaurs are dependent on species. So we need to make sure we create the species first. Then use a random ID between 1 and 4 to as the species ID for the dinosaur. It didn't delete that. So okay, all right. Species, let's see here. Species ID, random number. Awesome. Let's try to run that again. Actually, stop that. Dino has, let's see here, allow all, I think. Allow all. Let's see here. Animal type. I'm guessing that's not in faker. It hallucinated. We'll see here. So I'm going to say replace faker.animal. Actually, let's just double check. Animal. Yeah, animals. There's animals. there's just images. Okay, replace faker animal with with a random selection of 4 dinosaur, or here, 10 dinosaur species. There we go. Cool. Sometimes it likes to add extra parentheses, but usually it's easy to catch. All right. Let's run that again. Let me see what the. Let's see here. Allow all. Okay. Just do there. Hold on. I think it has to be dino run-a fake data.ts. It's a parameter for the dino, not for the script. Oh, we have to do the same thing. Okay. We need to do the same thing for species as we did for the habitat. Or same thing for habitat as we did species. Okay, create species records. Create habitat. We need to do the create habitat. Very similar thing. Implement the create method in the repository.ts. Import that. I'm just curious. Okay. It doesn't have any relationships. All right, so let's see what happened here. Create species. So we need to do a cons. I'm just going to use good old-fashioned Copilot here to finish that out there. And that is one of the reasons why we aren't working on Copilot style autocomplete, because it works good enough, and so we're trying to push the boundaries in other ways. So I've got that. All right, now let's try this run one more time. Habitat name. Let's see what happened here. Oops. So it looks like our SQL completely failed. So I'll have to check that. Yep. So come back here. I'm going to close some of these, and I'm going to say double check to make sure that the SQL file matches the schema in schema.ts. Schema.ts is the source of truth. There we go. That seems good. All right, so I'm going to actually come back here. Since this is a new application, it's much easier just to right click and drop all the tables. Copy that again. Query. Okay. And run that. Now it may seem weird that it makes some errors, but overall the process is still faster than writing it all yourself. And like I said, if I had the Drizzle ORM migration tool, it would have been a lot faster. So, okay. Made those changes. Let's run this now. And it seems to be actually running. And it's actually done. It's just not exiting because we're not terminating that connection. Okay, I skipped ahead a little bit, about 10 minutes. I went ahead and worked with the AI to finish out the habitats endpoints. Those weren't implemented yet. And the species endpoints. And then I presented all these files to the AI and I asked it to create a Postman import file so I can take my collection and import it to Postman. And so now I can come in Postman and I can see my couple endpoints here. So we have our get, so I can do request. Oh, it would help if I'm running the application. Go back to Postman. Okay. Send a request. Okay. Now we have our endpoint for dinosaurs. It's listing all dinosaurs. That's great. Okay. Create dinosaur. Sorry, I did one example. Call this Tyrannosaurus Rex B. Send. Okay. So we have our endpoints that we created. All right, so that is a summary of how we, an example how we can use Sedrino to write code for us. Just some information here. It took us about 1 hour of work, maybe a little bit more, but I was recording at the same time. So the AI ended up writing over 1,000 lines of code. As a senior developer, it allowed me to stay focused longer. I didn't get tired by writing out all the code, and it kept me focused at a higher level. As we move forward, I would focus maybe on the input validation for all the API endpoints. And so instead of going through and writing all that code, I should focus on writing documentation of how I want that implemented, use that documentation to make the AI change one of those resource API endpoints based on that documentation. Collaborate with it until I get it to the point I want it. And then I can say, hey, go and implement these types of changes to these other resources. So again, it keeps you at a very high level. You don't get bogged down with writing tedious code. And that's the benefit of using Sedrino. Thank you.